The thing about being called a failure is that eventually it stops stinging. At first it burns. Then it bruises. And one day, it's just noise, background static at family dinners, woven between the clink of cutlery and forced laughter. That's what I told myself as I walked up the stone path to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. My name is Cathy Bennett. But to them, I'm Cathy, always said with a small sigh, a subtle shake of the head, like I arrived pre-packaged with disappointment. I wore a simple coat. Understated. Neutral. It cost more than their monthly mortgage, but tonight wasn't about appearances. Not yet. Look who decided to show up, Diana called from the doorway, her voice sugar-coated with contempt. The family failure blesses us. I smiled politely. If she only knew how accurate that word was about to sound, just not in the way she meant. Inside, the cast was complete. Uncle Peter, co-CEO of Bennett Manufacturing with my father. Aunt Margaret, professional comparator of my lack of achievement. My cousins James and Laura, mid-level executives with upper-level arrogance. And my mother, adjusting her pearls as she kissed my cheek. Couldn't you wear something nicer, dear? This was all I had, I said. It was technically true. I'd left the couture in Manhattan. Diana's bracelet flashed under the chandelier as she leaned in. Cathy resells designer clothes online, Mom. Like a digital thrift shop. It's adorable. How's that going? She asked sweetly. I get by. What I didn't say. While they were hosting boardroom cocktail parties and promoting family members, Bennett Manufacturing had been bleeding cash for months. Suppliers were leaving. Debt was piling up. Payroll was a gamble. And my little online thing. It was Eclipse Luxury Group, a multi-billion-dollar retail empire built quietly, strategically, patiently. But silence has power. So I let them talk. Big news. Diana beamed during dinner. We're expanding. 3 new facilities next year. Maybe even going public. I almost choked. They were announcing expansion plans hours before bankruptcy. Ambition without awareness is expensive. Business strategy isn't really your thing, is it? Uncle Peter added, smirking. The table laughed. Ah yes. The girl they offered a mailroom position after she completed her MBA. The girl who suggested e-commerce before it was fashionable. The girl who proposed investing in a platform called Eclipse. Imagine if we'd listened to her, Diana laughed. We'd probably be bankrupt. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Right on schedule. Dinner plates shifted. Wine glasses clinked. So Cathy, Aunt Margaret chimed in. Have you considered getting a real job? I hear Walmart is hiring. Laughter again. I placed my fork down gently. Actually, I've been meaning to discuss business. Groans. Eye rolls. Didn't that Eclipse company get bought out? Diana asked smugly. It did, I nodded. By Morgan Holdings. She smirked in triumph. Thank God we didn't invest. My phone buzzed again. This time, I looked at it. Everything confirmed. I glanced up calmly. Bennett Manufacturing's Chapter 11 filing was just approved. Silence. Utter, absolute silence. What did you just say? My father asked. Your bankruptcy filing, I repeated. Given your debt structure, it will likely convert to Chapter 7. That's impossible, Uncle Peter snapped. How would you even know? I reached into my bag and placed a folder on the table beside the cranberry sauce. Because Morgan Holdings owns 82% of your outstanding debt. Their faces drained of color. And Morgan Holdings, I continued softly, belongs to me. You could hear breath catch in throats. You're lying, Peter said weakly. I slid the acquisition records across the table. I built Eclipse into a $3.2 billion company. Morgan Holdings is my investment firm. And for the past several months, I've been purchasing your debt through subsidiaries. Laura nearly dropped her glass. Diana stared at me like she'd never seen me before. Why? My father finally whispered. Why would you do this to your own family? Family. I let the word sit between us. The family that demoted me to the mailroom. The family that laughed at every modernization proposal. The family that labeled me a failure at every holiday. My phone buzzed again. Perfect timing. "Excuse me," I said calmly. "My team is probably outside." 5 minutes later, the doorbell rang. 3 lawyers. 2 financial advisors. Briefcases full of reality. My mother looked faint. "You can't just," my father began. "I can," I said evenly. "You've defaulted on $142 million. You have 2 options, cooperate in a structured acquisition, or I force liquidation Monday morning." Diana started crying. But the expansion was never happening. For 2 hours we went over restructuring terms, asset transfers, executive eliminations. By the end of dessert, Bennett Manufacturing no longer belonged to the Bennetts. It belonged to me. "Diana, James, Laura," I said as my team packed up, "clean out your offices by Monday. You're firing us." Diana shrieked. "I'm removing underqualified executives hired through nepotism." I paused. "But if it helps, I hear Walmart is hiring." Outside, a Mercedes S-Class waited, delivered for the occasion. As I drove away, I saw them standing at the window. For the first time in my life, they were the ones watching me leave. Powerless. A week later, Bennett Manufacturing was rebranded as Eclipse Manufacturing, newest subsidiary of my expanding empire. I kept my grandfather's logo. I simply added a small eclipse symbol beside it. A reminder. Diana found a retail job eventually. James and Laura relocated quietly. Uncle Peter retired. My father left a voicemail once. "I was wrong about you," it began. It ended with a job request. My assistant sent him the standard rejection letter. The following Thanksgiving, I didn't attend dinner. I was busy running my companies. Instead, I mailed them cards embossed with the Eclipse logo. The note read, "Thankful for the lessons in real business. Hope you're enjoying your real jobs."